Hello, this is Jon Miller, the creator of The Rest of Everest. I think I can safely say that this show is, without a doubt, the most in-depth look into the entire experience of what it takes to climb Everest, as well as some other peaks throughout the Himalayas. But all of the events in the series are shown in chronological order, so if you're new to the show, please go all the way back to episode 000 and watch everything in order. That's truly the best way to enjoy it. Thanks.
This is the Rest of Everest video podcast, an almost unabridged expedition experience. Episode 97, Hearts Racing, Hearts Aching.
Well, hello again, everyone. Welcome back to The Rest of Everest. I'm Jon Miller. Happy to be joined once again by Ben Clark and Josh Butson, both in Telluride. How's it going, guys?
Awesome, John. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Awesome.
I'm having a good night too. How are you guys doing?
Nice to hear it, Josh. This week, as promised, we're going to continue with the approach to Annapurna IV because, 65-mile approach from actually probably more like, about 180 miles from Kathmandu. So it took them a long drive before they started hiking, and now we're going to catch up on the part of the 65-mile approach to base camp on Annapurna IV. And we're going to get to see a little bit more of the country of Nepal, and we're going to get to check out some impromptu bridge building, which I thought was really interesting when I was editing it. So hopefully these guys can kind of explain what they were looking at, because I really wasn't quite sure what was going on there, but it was pretty cool. So, well, hey, let's, if it's all right with you guys, we'll just jump in here and rejoin the approach to Annapurna IV base camp. Here we go. Now, do you remember what town this was, Ben?
This is actually just exiting Tal. The town Tal means lake in Nepali. This would be on the other side of where we just were in the last episode.
Yeah, it's just north of town, exiting town. It's beautiful waterfalls.
Just amazing. Mm-hmm. These waterfalls are amazing. Just they're everywhere, huh?
Yeah. Everywhere.
Lots of water coming out of those mountains.
Whenever my twin brother Chris and I are up in Maine, it's beautiful up there, but we like to walk around and say, it's just so ugly here. I don't know why we keep coming back. Keep thinking. All right, so this is the impromptu, I'm guessing, bridge building. Is that what you guys were?
I'm not sure if it's bridge building or if they were just trying to float. I mean, this I think is the way that they would get their logs and any kind of raw materials they want to use to build. Sorry to interrupt, Ben. Yeah, go for it.
Continue. This is actually them trying to put this little walking bridge across here. They're floating logs down the river. I watched them for quite a while, and you watched them for quite a bit too, and just transporting those logs down to the same spot, and I don't know how long they really lasted.
Yeah.
Anything you do not to get feet wet, but all the people that got their feet wet, their hands wet, their bodies wet, shorts wet in the process. It's a feat.
Yeah. Definitely, it looked probably for the greater good, kind of making their sacrifice. Because
the young boys are doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, these guys will do it. They'll do anything. But yeah, that stuff laying across there, that's what made me think it was bridge building. So and you said that water's very cold.
It's definitely not. It's refreshing.
I'd compare it to Colorado runoff. It's ice cold.
Well, here's a little bit of scale. This isn't exactly what we were looking at, but you can see how wide it is right there. All those dots in the middle of the screen, those are people.
Here's some Maoist markings.
The hammer and sickle.
Uh-huh. And then they were surveying for the road. So this is some survey equipment just set out there.
Yeah, I believe this is where they were surveying where they'd put one of the bridges to cross that gap there. That's what it looked like.
I thought it was pretty interesting that, that's current surveying equipment. I'm going to guess, I've done a little bit of surveying work myself up in some national parks, and that's all laser equipment and everything, but really big contrast between the surveying equipment and then the labor used to actually build the road.
Yes.
These kids are playing in sand.
There I go, cross the bridge. Cross my fingers. The interesting thing about all these bridge crossings is it made you feel really good when they're out of steel cable and steel pieces, and then there were some ones that will be coming up here. I don't know if they'll be in the footage, but you had the choice of going over one of the newer bridges like that, or one of the old rickety, old wooden ones that and some of them were double deckers. They're stacked on top of each other. This made me feel good about going across. If they can do it, I can.
Seems like they'd really bounce around with the pack animals.
Yeah, they remain pretty stable. They're under a lot of tension.
You can really see how deep these canyons are and everything. It's just awesome. Just so beautiful.
Yeah, it's a pretty fantastic place.
There's Josh again.
Everything, yeah.
I'm still walking.
Yeah. It's kind of what we do every day.
One thing I wanted to ask you guys is, are these little entrances to every town? Is that what those are? Like
they are.
Yep.
Yeah, like I see them every time you seem to be entering a village.
A lot of them have the name of the towns. Other ones have, prayer flags and various things to deal with their culture and their religions. But each town's slightly different. It's hard to tell what town you're in until you see one of those. And if you're sort of in a state of just pushing forward to walk to try to cover the terrain and not really awake in the morning, you may actually miss what town you're in if it doesn't actually have a name on it.
Every now and then you get a little look at the mountains.
So day number 3, enjoying the Annapurna Circuit. It's good. And been a little humid, a little hot. Been really having a good time getting out of the jungle, which has been good. And enjoying hanging out with the cook staff, all our new friends. Met a few new people. That was good too. And now, hello! People are always really friendly here, waving, hanging out. It's really nice to be in Nepal. I was a little concerned there at the beginning because it gets really hot. And I'm a Tennessee guy. Don't really like the heat. Not so much. But here we are. Nonetheless, getting a little higher. We've gone from 2,000 feet. Now we're up around 6,000. So it's pretty good. And today we're heading to a town called Chame, which is closer to the altitude where we live at in Telluride, Colorado. So I'm looking forward to getting up there and enjoying a little cooler temperatures. These mornings have been pretty hot, really humid out here. And so far Tim and Josh are both in great spirits, the whole cook staff and all our friends, Sherpa folks that are climbing up to base camp with us are great folks. Having a good time hanging out with them. Most of the day is spent hiking. Well, we hike pretty fast. Sherpa's been laughing because we cover stuff usually takes about 6 hours, not 3. So we're used to hiking a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, looking forward to another fine day, about 3,000 feet of elevation gain. Been thinking about lots of different stuff, getting really amped on climbing this mountain. Yeah. And then really missing a beautiful, wonderful, most amazing person in my entire life, Miss Annie Ripper. Miss Annie Clark, we call her, because we're getting married as soon as I get home. Can't wait to see her. Keep thinking about her a lot because she and I and Tim did this trail last year. Had a great time doing it, and keep going through all these different places, thinking about all the good memories we had. So, missing a lot. Love you, honey. Anyway, we'll catch back up, do some interviews and chats with Josh and Tim. But this is just to catch people up. Here's where we are.
I love the facial hair growing in slowly from all of us.
We look gnarly by the end.
Another one of those entrances to town coming up on.
And then,
hey, looky there. That's snow. Did it feel really good to finally see some high peaks?
Yeah.
So I just came around the corner and just saw Annapurna II and Annapurna IV. My heart's racing. I'm really excited. Like, super psyched to be back here in the Himalayas. Super psyched to be seeing this mountain. I'm ready to get up there and have a good time. And did not expect to see anything today. So just absolutely like feeling it. It's good. Really good. I feel really good about this whole trip. It's important.
So this was the third day of the approach?
I think so, yeah.
Or is this the morning of the fourth?
This is actually the morning of the third.
Of the third, okay.
Yep. Yeah, we covered a lot of ground.
And Ben, real quick, how high is Annapurna IV?
24,688 feet.
So climbing to the top of Annapurna IV is actually a vertical gain greater than what it would be if you were climbing Everest from the north side. Because at least on this trip, you're starting at 2,000 feet, and were you to top out, it'd be 24,000 feet, and up on the north side of Everest, you start at over 17,000. So it's amazing.
Big, long climb.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's a pretty cool little temple shrine on the side of the trail.
This is for audio, John.
I like that. I left that in there, Ben, because this audio is pretty wild.
This is all those bugs, just muggy, humid, just bug central.
But you gotta listen for it here.
Can you believe those bugs just quit like that?
Were they just coming in waves? The sound just coming in waves, and then it's kind of stop, and then start back up again.
Dude, it was like a mid-August in Tennessee. Just a wall of sound pulsating.
There's one of those telephone poles. Yeah.
How heavy do you think some of those heavier loads were?
I would say somewhere between, 75 and 125 pounds.
Yep.
I don't know what this guy's carrying. He is not with our group.
Mm-hmm.
I like this guy playing the harmonica.
And hauling.
Yeah.
It's really going fast.
He probably only had like 85 pounds on his back.
Yeah.
Just a cruiser day.
Yeah, I'm not as impressed anyway.
Yeah. You just see these guys and women and girls and boys, and it just comes across, if these people had the skills to climb these mountains, they could run up them and run down and make us look like fools.
This is a cool shot because this tree that's just now popping in here in the left corner, now it's at the bottom of the center of the screen. We had pointed that out last year when Annie and Tim and I were hiking. Thought that was just one of the most coolest looking trees we'd ever seen. Here we have the entrance to Chame. Chame is a bustling little town. This will be a spot where people will probably stay and acclimatize as they drive up to the Annapurna Circuit. Mm-hmm. Some prayer wheels sending the good thoughts into the sky.
Yeah, lest you forget where this is all being shot.
Yeah. This is the view from our hotel.
All right, Josh. What's shaking this morning? How you feeling? We just seen our first views of the high mountains in Chame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm flipping through some pictures here, seeing what I saw along the way before we saw these fabulous mountains in the background here. We got another view of Annapurna IV, actually 2. And the mountains are rather large. Everything's big here. And it's beautiful too, especially now that we're out of the jungle, as they say.
How was the jungle?
It reminded me of living back east. I shot out an email to my wife that I'm sure is going to be sent off to the rest of my family, and I compared it to hiking back east where it's hot and sweaty and very, very humid.
What do you think of the Annapurna Circuit in terms of, we don't do a lot of hiking, you and me, like just for the sake of hiking. How do you feel about that?
I remember why I don't do a lot of hiking. It's getting much more beautiful now than it was down lower, and you can enjoy it more because, it's cooler this morning. You almost see your breath earlier this morning when I got up to go to the bathroom. It's beautiful in its own kind of way to this point. One of the big things I see is that it's changing rather quickly. I see a lot of surveyors out surveying where they're going to be putting parts of the road, and then there are other parts of the road that are already pretty much done. So quite literally, this little town, along with the other towns, it's going to be interesting to see what they do for work and what they do for business. This little place we're staying at right now, I'm sure they're not going to be able to make a living anymore. They're going to have to adapt to the new ways. This place right here is probably going to have getting torn down and be a gas station or something like that, would be my guess. These people aren't going to be stopping here. They're just going to go a little bit further up the road via vehicle, and they are going to just go right to the heart of it, where you bypass a lot of this, that you don't get to see the beautiful peaks quite yet. You're going to go up the road a little bit farther, and or AK the trail now, and be able to see the mountains quite literally in one day's drive versus, we've been hiking fairly fast, but not super fast. And this is going to be day 4 before we actually get into where we're going to head up to our base camp.
Anything else you want to say? Anything on your mind?
Say hi to the family. Definitely miss them. It's just hard being away for this long. It's definitely the reason why I got out of these types of trips, guiding them earlier in my guiding career, is just because it's just hard to be away. But it's much more enjoyable to be out here with 2 friends. I have my really good friend Ben here, and business partner and friend Tim Clark here also, and my stomach hurts from laughing so much. We've had a good time up to this point. There's a lot more that meets the eye about this trip than what you're seeing on this video and what we're seeing still. Maybe we should be shooting 2 films.
Yes.
Good times. Good times.
Was that Was that our long night that we had in the hotel room?
This is 2 nights even before that.
Okay, I thought it was, but...
Yeah, everyone, I'm just in the dark about what that all meant, as you are. I'm going to see if I can get it out of these guys at some point, but we might not get all of it in the podcast.
It won't take much. We'll tell you all about it.
And Tim really is there. I saw Tim for just a second there. Tim is he camera shy or what's...
No, Tim was actually in the film Ordinary People, believe it or not. You'll see Tim Clark in there back in the day. He's actually a classically trained actor.
That's right.
He's hilarious. He's got a lot of skill, but he is like, he wakes up, he has his ritual, and he is gone. Like, the guy is a fast hiker. You never see him on the trail. We'll show up in a town, and Tim will already be there, and he'll be like, oh my God. Okay, there's Tim. He's like the Phantom when you're hiking in. That's why we put a rope on him on the mountain so we can figure out where the hell he is.
Yeah, he'll make much more of an appearance once they arrive at base camp, and we actually get to see a lot of Tim. Some really cool episodes with him talking to the camera. So, well, thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate it. I want to remind everyone that if you want to follow Ben Clark and all of the different content he's filming and editing and writing on a daily basis, you can find him at telluride.plumtv.com. And
check it out.
Of course, you can find Josh Butson at tellurideadventures.com. And next week, we're going to really get to study some of the high peaks. They get to see their objectives, and it's just amazing. It's amazing how beautiful the snow looks back when it's still fairly warm on the approach. So thanks so much, guys, and we'll see all of you next week.
You got it, Jon.
Take care.
The Rest of Everest is downloaded all over the world every day, and watching the show has become a part of many people's weekly routine. The show will always be free to download, but it's by no means free to produce. Please help me cover my costs by making a small monthly or one-time donation from the right sidebar on my website, and in return I'll give you some cool bonus materials. A donation of any amount will grant you access to some interesting video content, including high-definition versions of several podcast episodes. A one-time donation of $25 or more, or any of the monthly donation options, will additionally grant you access to a downloadable version of the film Everest: The Other Side, which episodes 1 to 61 are based on. I really cannot express how vital these donations are, and if you've made a donation, thank you so much. As always, our announcer is Marlon May, and our music is provided by Wendy Wu. Check her out at wendywoo.com. Thanks so much, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching The Rest of Everest. For more information on the expedition, please visit therestofeverest.com.